All right, first up this morning, with every season, we have new jobs inside and outside the house. And with each new season, we also have new questions about one of my favorite topics, disposal and recycling.
That's right, which brings us to one of our favorite guests. It's Analiese Smith. She is with Waukesha County Recycling. We're so excited to have you back, Analiese. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. As we talk about, being more responsible, being good, I think, when we want to recycle better, you're always our go-to person. So let's kind of break it down. This one, I thought this was interesting. You said, is this from inside my house? That's one of the curbside recycling questions we talked about last time. And I want to know why that's so important, why is this inside my house? I've been thinking about it since we saw you last.
Yeah, well, and something a little crazy happened the last time I was at the material recovery facility, or MRF, that really drives this point home as well. So if something is from inside your house, it's typically safe and there's not a lot of chemicals associated. But if you think about the things that maybe are in your garage or in a shed, sometimes there are some really harmful chemicals and flammable things in your garage and shed. And so even if the bottle itself is the right type of plastic, there might be remnants of the chemicals in the bottle, which could cause a fire. So the last time I was at the MRF, we actually were standing outside with a couple of employees and we saw a fire just kind of spontaneously start. And so thank goodness, with a lot of quick responses from a lot of people, we were able to use fire extinguishers and shovels to kind of hit the fire out. But it was a pretty intense few minutes. And afterwards, we kind of looked through the pile and saw a lighter fluid container, clearly not from inside somebody's house. And then we saw some pool chemicals in a box as well. Again, not from inside somebody's house. And we're not sure that these were the causes of the fire, but it seemed pretty likely. And those two things, probably separate people put them in, but they got mixed together in the truck, and it could have been a very bad situation very quickly. So nothing flammable, nothing chemically should ever go inside your recycling cart.
Well, it's such a great point. And what you say is that the right resin code to recycle may be on the container, but what was in them is not okay for recycling. So I think people want to know, okay, so let's say I have containers then, lighter fluid, for example, pool chemicals, weed killer, things that are not okay to recycle, like the things that are inside our house. But what do we do with them? Because when I have containers like that, I feel so bad putting them in the regular trash.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm right there with you. I hate throwing them in the trash, but unfortunately, those empty containers, that really is the safest spot for them. So really making sure that you've used up all of the product inside. And if you can't use it, see if a neighbor or a friend needs that last little bit of lighter fluid or weed killer. But then once those containers are empty, they should go in the trash.
Okay, so let's break down a couple more outdoor items because people may have questions now that they've heard that. Let's start with landscape plastics. If you've got things like that, again, maybe you don't think of as chemical laden.
Yes, so these would may or may not be the right resin code again, but they're typically so dirty that they can't be recycled in your curbside recycling container. But the great news is we work with a lot of nurseries, closest with Johnson's Nursery, and a lot of nurseries will take them back for reuse or recycling. So see if the nursery you typically go to would take them back. That's the best option for those.
What about things that are in the garage, perhaps, such as hoses or tools that you want to get rid of?
Yeah, we recently had quite a few of those. This is kind of the time of year to realize your hose isn't working anymore. Maybe you ran over it with the lawnmower. Not that I've ever done that. But the hoses, again, they can get wrapped around the equipment in the MRF, and so they can be a fire hazard. So hoses, unless you're really Pinteresty and crafty and can reuse it that way, need to go in the trash. But the metal, like we've got these like metal connectors, hose connectors, or if you have a metal sprayer or a metal tool, those can be taken to scrap metal dealers or wherever you typically take your scrap metal to be recycled, and then it can have a new life that way. So
how about if someone has old latex paint that they haven't used sitting around?
Yeah, so the season of outside projects is coming to an end, unfortunately. Latex paint just needs to be dry and then it can be thrown in the garbage. So the fastest way, if it can't be used up on another project, is add kitty litter to it, or in the home stores, they sell crystals in the paint packet that'll dry it up in a half an hour. And once the paint is dry, you can throw it in the regular trash for latex paint.
We ran out of time, Annalise, but real quick, because this is the season of leaves, how do we get rid of leaves from our yard that we're raking up?
Yeah, mulch them up with your lawnmower or compost them, or utilize your city, town or village's curbside collection. Just make sure that you don't have plastic bags or anything inorganic mixed in with those leaves only.
Great point. And I know you also said on your information sheet the pumpkins may not be able to be included in your fall leaf collections, you know, your village, your city, whatever. So you have to check to make sure before you throw those out with the leaves. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good to see you.
All right, and to find out more about disposing the right way this fall, go to this website. It's waukeshacounty.gov/recycling.